David Bro. He had been stabbed many times, and it was apparent that it was a particularly brazen and brutal attack. We launched an investigation, collected a lot of physical evidence, and immediately started looking for who may be responsible. The problem with this one is there was no eyewitnesses, and so we had to wait for evidence to come back through the investigation. And then just 2 nights later, we had another attack. And this one, Kareem was in the park, Sycamore Park, located in central West Davis, and he was violently attacked and stabbed many times. A witness had seen the last part of the attack, had a short interaction with the suspect, who took off going westbound out of the park. We immediately started a search, but we weren't able to locate the suspect that night. 2 nights later, we had another attack. Kimberly was in a tent located at 2nd and L Street, and she had just gone to bed. She was alone, and we had a person slash the side of the tent, reach in and stab her several times. She called 911 and said that she'd been stabbed. The responding officers arrived shortly thereafter. They conducted a search, but again, were unable to locate the suspect. She was transported to the UCD Med Center. She underwent surgery for the stab wounds, and she is recovering, which is good news. The initial crimes were both investigated as homicides, and of course we launched an attempt homicide investigation for the 3rd stabbing. And everybody's asked, are the 3 crimes related? And it's, well, we investigated it. It was certainly more probable than not that they were. We didn't know whether we had several attackers out there or one, so we had to keep all options on the table. So this brings us to the arrest, and this is how it went down. Yesterday afternoon, we had about 15 callers over near central West Davis, near Sycamore Park, and they reported seeing a person who matched the description that we had provided after the 3rd attack. All of them reported kind of the same thing. A person was at the park, was wearing the same clothing that we had put out in the description, and that he was wandering around. We were a little behind on some of the calls, like I had seen him a couple minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, but eventually one of the callers said, I'm following him right now, and was able to lead us to the person. He was stopped by several patrol officers, and they had a short conversation. It appeared that he had some physical evidence on him that might be part of the investigation, and he was wearing really the same clothing that was described by the witnesses after the 3rd attack. This looked like a match. So they spoke to him briefly, and at this point, it was becoming a little bit of a neighborhood spectacle. So they asked if he would be willing to come downtown here so that they could speak with them, and he agreed. The detectives met with him, and they spent many hours interviewing him. And based on the interview, physical evidence that we were able to collect from him, and the clothing, and other physical evidence at that point that was starting to come in, we decided to first arrest him for possessing a large knife that was on his person when he was picked up. He was wearing a backpack, and in the backpack was a large knife that was consistent with one that we were looking for based on evidence from the 1st homicide. So having this information, the detectives worked pretty diligently throughout the night, and just about an hour ago placed him under arrest on 2 counts of homicide for David Bro and Kareem Najim, and for 1 count of attempt murder for Kimberly. He is now at the Yolo County Jail, and the district attorney will be reviewing our reports in the coming days to determine any final charging decisions. can't thank the city of Davis and our community enough for their support. It's pretty remarkable. 15 people took a description that we had put out, and actually all of you in the media had helped us put out, and they saw a person who matched the description and they called. And that led directly to the arrest in this case. This was a partnership between all the law enforcement professionals, some that you see up here, and our community members who stepped up. That's pretty remarkable and pretty amazing. These horrific crimes have resulted in immeasurable loss to the victims' families and friends and to our community. But as we move forward together, it also demonstrates Davis has compassion, a deep sense of community when faced with tragedy.